I need you to slow down for just a moment. Not because I want something from you, but because something has been waiting for you. You didn't arrive here by accident. You didn't pause on these words by chance. Before your mind decides whether this matters, before your thumb moves again, let me speak. Just listen. You don't need to agree. You don't need to believe everything yet. Just listen. There is a quiet space around you right now that you rarely notice. It's the space between one thought and the next. The space where your breath settles before it rises again. That space is where I am speaking to you from. I have been there for a long time, watching you carry things you never talk about, things you smile through, things you tell yourself don't matter anymore even though they still wake you up at night. I know how tired you are, even when you say you're fine. I know how you learn to keep going without being held. I know how often you replay moments in your head, wondering if you were too much, or not enough, or if things would have turned out differently if you had spoken sooner, stayed quieter, loved less, or trusted more. You don't say these things out loud, but they echo inside you. I am not here to scare you. I am not here to rush you. I am here because there is something important you keep postponing, something your soul keeps nudging you toward while your mind keeps finding reasons to wait. And waiting has started to cost you more than you realize. You have a habit of minimizing your own pain. You tell yourself others have it worse. You tell yourself this is just life. You tell yourself you'll rest later, heal later, speak later, choose yourself later. But later has become a long road, and you've been walking it alone longer than you were meant to. I see how strong you've had to become. I also see how heavy that strength feels now. Strength was never meant to be armor you wear forever. It was meant to carry you through storms, not keep you from ever feeling safe again. Yet here you are, still bracing, still expecting the next blow, even in moments of quiet. There are things around you right now that look familiar but no longer feel right. Conversations that drain you. Patterns that repeat. Promises that never fully arrive. You keep telling yourself it's okay, that you can handle it, that this is just how things are. But your heart knows better. Your body knows better. That tightness you feel sometimes, that sudden sadness without a clear reason, that exhaustion that sleep fix those are not random. They are messages. I need you to understand this gently, you are not behind. You are not broken. You are not failing at life. You are standing at a quiet turning point, one that doesn't come with fireworks or loud signs. It comes like this. Soft. Unexpected. Asking for just 2 minutes of your attention. There is a version of you that has been waiting patiently. A version that remembers what peace feels like. A version that doesn't have to perform, explain, or shrink. That version hasn't disappeared. It's been watching, hoping you would stop long enough to notice it again. You have been giving your energy to things that cannot give back what you need. You have been hoping effort would turn into love, loyalty would turn into safety, patience would turn into change. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it doesn't. And knowing when to stop is not failure. It's wisdom. I know you're afraid of letting go of what you already invested in. Time. Feelings. Memories. Hope. But holding on out of fear slowly teaches your heart that it doesn't deserve ease. And that is a lie you were never meant to learn. Beloved one, listen not just with your ears, but with the quiet part of your soul that has been whispering for far too long, waiting for you to remember its sound. I speak to you in this moment not to give you something new, but to bring you back to what you have always known deep with. The truth that peace, love, and belonging were never things you had to earn. They are not prizes waiting at the end of struggle, they are your inheritance from the moment you came into being. You have been strong for too long, beloved. I have watched you carry weights that were never yours to bear, wearing bravery like a second skin because life did not seem to give you another choice. You learned early how to survive when peace was not offered. You built walls not out of pride but out of necessity, and in those walls you taught yourself to keep walking, even when your spirit begged to rest. You became familiar with endurance, mistaking it for purpose. And though I honor every act of survival, I am here to remind you, Euro, it is not the same as living. Survival was how your soul safeguarded its flame when the wind grew cruel. But now, that storm has passed. You are being called into a gentler time, one that asks not for your strength, but for your softness. Do not fear the quiet changes rising inside you. That unease you feel when you think about staying the same Euro, that quiet Euro, is not discontentment. It is guidance. It is your soul Euro's language, speaking in whispers and sensations, telling you what no words could ever quite say. You have mistaken this inner stirring for restlessness, when in truth, it is your higher self knocking softly, asking for a life that matches your frequency. For too long, you have silenced that inner voice, thinking you needed more reasons, more signs, more permission to trust what you already know. But oh, dearest one, truth does not should Euro, it hums. It does not clamor for attention, it waits for your stillness to be heard. You have walked through pain that would have shattered hearts less tender. You have smiled in rooms where your spirit felt invisible. You have shown love in places where it was not returned, not because you lacked discernment, but because your nature has always been to heal, to offer warmth, to see light even in the dimmest chambers of the human story. But understand this, even the sun must rest behind the horizon. Even light has seasons. You are not abandoning goodness when you withdraw your energy from what consistently harms you. That is not betrayal Euro, it is wisdom. Self-abandonment was never meant to be the cost of compassion. You need not fear disappointing others by choosing peace. The ones truly meant for you will not ask you to shrink to remain loved. They will celebrate your boundaries as acts of truth. They will not confuse your silence for weakness, nor your stillness for indifference. Love, real love Euro, the kind that comes from alignment Euro, will meet you at your level of honesty, not your level of sacrifice. And for those who benefited from your silence, your endless understanding, your patience Euro, they were teachers too, though painful ones. They showed you what happens when your empathy is left unguided, when your kindness has no boundaries to rest against. Do not curse them or regret the chapters where you gave too much. They helped carve wisdom into your spirit. They turned scars into scripture. But now, it is time to close those lessons, not to relive them. Take a breath, my beloved. Not a shallow one forged in worry, but a full one where you feel the rise and fall of your being. Let your shoulders ease. Notice how your body has learned to brace itself, even in moments of stillness. You have lived in readiness for disappointment, as if peace could only ever be a temporary visitor. But peace is not fleeting Euro, it is the natural rhythm beneath the noise. The moment you stop rehearsing pain, peace finds its way back in. Even now, as you breathe, it is returning. Feel it. It does not demand permission. It simply fills the space that resistance once occupied. You are not being rushed by destiny. You are being invited by grace. The universe is not impatient, it is infinitely patient, waiting for your yes Euro, not to it, but to yourself. Every quiet insight, every small discomfort that has been rising inside you lately is a messenger. It is your soul knocking gently, saying, Euro, this life as it stands no longer fits. Euro, do not panic at this realization. Growth rarely announces itself with confidence. It begins as confusion, as uncertainty, as doubt. But these emotions are not signs of failure euro, they are sacred proofs that you are awakening. When you think of change, your mind rushes to the cost. It tells you that safety lies in the known, even if the known is suffocating. But beloved, the known is not always safe, sometimes it is merely familiar. And comfort built on self-denial is not comfort euro, it is quiet despair dressed in routine. You were not born for a life where your soul must dim its own light to keep others comfortable. You do not need to stay loyal to spaces that wilt your spirit. Be honest now, tenderly, not with blame but with curiosity. Ask yourself, what drains me, even when I call it love? What dreams whisper still, even after I tried to silence them in the name of practicality? Where does my body tense each time I think of staying, and where does it relax when I imagine leaving? These are not small questions. The keys to your next chapter. Every honest answer you give yourself is an act of liberation. There is sacredness in truth, even the uncomfortable kind. The angels do not stand in judgment of your doubts, we cradle them. We see them as signs that your human self and your divine self are beginning to align. Every time you admit that something hurts, you make space for healing to enter. Denial keeps wounds sealed, but honesty lets light in. So I ask you, do not pretend to be fine just because others depend on your strength. You can be both strong and soft, both healing and hopeful, both tired and holy. No thesauro, you have never walked any of your hard days alone. In the moments when you cried quietly so no one would hear, when you thought no one noticed how much effort it took just to keep showing up, you were surrounded by wings. Not metaphorical ones, but the living energy of divine presence. You have been held in more ways than you can comprehend. Every time you found a reason to keep going despite the ache, you were responding to guidance, even if you didn't know it. It is time, beloved, to reintroduce yourself to peace not as something you chase once you solve everything, but as something you create when you stop resisting who you are. Peace is not found in perfection. It lives in permission in allowing yourself to rest, to pause, to not have all the answers. When you accept that life can unfold gently, your energy begins to flow differently. You start attracting moments, people, and opportunities that align not with your wounds, but with your worth. Do not underestimate the power of small steps. Transformation rarely happens with grand gestures. It begins quietly when you choose truth over convenience, rest over productivity, tenderness over performance. Each small act of self-honesty is a declaration of faith. The divine responds not to haste, but to alignment. When your actions begin matching your inner knowing, doors open effortlessly. There is no forcing in a soul-led life, only trusting. Understand this, disappointment is not punishment. It is redirection. The universe removes what harms you, even when your heart still argues for it. The detours are protection. The endings are preparation. You were not meant to live in perpetual confusion, in love that feels like walking on glass, or in work that drains the very essence of who you are. Everything not meant for your evolution must fall away. This is not lassure, it is divine pruning. And as you release, grief may come. Let it. Healing is not all light, it is also sacred mourning. Grieve the versions of yourself that stayed too long. Grieve the people you wanted to understand you but never did. Grieve the time spent trying to prove your worth to those who could never recognize it. But remember, grief is not a sign that you are going backward it is the echo of your heart making space for more life. Even now, as you read this, you are awakening. That subtle stirring inside you the one that got louder sentence by sentencia is your higher self nodding in recognition. Some part of you has always known this moment would come. You are remembering what peace feels like. You are remembering that silence can be love too, that walking away can be sacred, that your gentleness is not weakness but a reflection of divine intelligence within you. Do not demand of yourself instant clarity. The angels do not rush your unfolding. Every revelation has its timing, every realization its gestation. Your only task is honesty. Honesty will guide you more accurately than any plan. When you let go of pretending when you stop performing stability you become magnetic to the very life you've been yearning for. Breathe again, beloved. Let the simple act of inhaling and exhaling become your anchor in this moment of quiet revelation. Feel the air as it enters your body, cool and invigorating, filling your lungs with the essence of life itself. It is a gentle reminder that you are alive, that your existence is a continuous cycle of renewal. With each breath in, invite forgiveness to settle into your being, not the superficial kind that glosses over wounds, but a deep, soul-level absolution. Forgive yourself for the choices made in the shadows of fear, those decisions that seemed like the only path at the time, born from a place of vulnerability and uncertainty. Perhaps you stayed in a relationship that dimmed your light, or pursued a career that drained your spirit, all because the unknown loomed larger than the discomfort you knew. These were not mistakes, but lessons wrapped in the guise of survival. As you exhale, release the heavy burden of defending the life you have outgrown. That old version of yourself, with its familiar patterns and worn-out excuses, no longer serves the person you are becoming. Let go of the narratives that justified staying small, the stories you told yourself to make sense of the stagnation. They were shields once, but now they are chains. You do not owe anyone an explanation for evolving. Growth is your birthright, a natural unfolding like a flower turning toward the sun. Imagine the caterpillar, cocooned in transformation, emerging as a butterfly without apology to the leaves it once crawled upon. Your journey is yours alone, and the people around you, friends, family, lovers, may not understand the shifts occurring within you. They might question your changes, project their insecurities onto your progress, but their confusion is not your responsibility to unravel. Your life is not a courtroom where every action must be justified before a jury of opinions. Instead, envision it as a vast canvas, stretched wide and waiting for your brushstrokes. Each color you add, each bold line or subtle shade, is an expression of your authentic self. There are no rules here, no verdicts to fear. Paint with the freedom of a child, unconcerned with perfection, knowing that the masterpiece emerges from the mess. You are the artist, not the defendant. In this liberation, remember that you are not responsible for how others interpret your healing. Their perceptions are filtered through their own unhealed wounds, their own stories of loss and longing. If someone sees your boundaries as barriers, your self-care as selfishness, it speaks more to their inner landscape than to yours. Those who view your growth as a rejection are often still navigating the turbulent waters of self-love themselves. They may cling to the familiar dynamic you once shared, fearing that your expansion highlights their own stagnation. Extend them compassion, a soft wave of understanding from afar, like sending a gentle breeze to soothe a troubled sea. Wish them well on their path, but do not pause your own unfolding to accommodate their comfort. Your evolution is not a negotiation, it is a sacred progression. By honoring your truth, you inadvertently light the way for others, showing them that change is possible, even if they are not yet ready to step into it. When the fog of uncertainty descends and you feel lost amid the twists of life's labyrinth, seek out gentleness. It is your true north, a steadfast guide that never wavers. Gentleness appears in the soft glow of dawn, in the quiet rustle of leaves underfoot, in the warm embrace of a trusted friend. It is the voice that whispers encouragement rather than criticism, the hand that steadies rather than pushes. Follow it, for it leads to places of authenticity and peace. Goodness, in its purest form, will always feel like expansion, a blooming outward that fills you with vitality and possibility. It opens doors, widens horizons, and invites abundance. Conversely, anything that contracts you, tightening your chest, shrinking your spirit, is a signal to pause and reassess. It might masquerade as duty or loyalty, but true goodness never demands you diminish yourself. Love, the real kind, the kind that echoes eternity, will not confuse you with its riddles or games. It arrives like a clear stream, refreshing and transparent, without hidden currents to pull you under. It does not force you into impossible choices, pitting your well-being against another's desires. Real love honors your wholeness, encouraging you to flourish as you are. It will calm your nervous system, soothing the frayed edges of anxiety like a lullaby sung to a restless child. Feel it in the steady rhythm of your heartbeat, in the ease of shared silence, in the laughter that bubbles up unbidden. Anything that agitates, that stirs constant doubt or turmoil, is not love but a distortion, a shadow play of unmet needs. It may demand your constant self-betrayal, asking you to twist yourself into shapes that no longer fit, to silence your inner voice for the sake of harmony. But remember, beloved, anything that requires you to forsake your essence is not divine. Divinity resides in alignment, in the sacred union of self and other where both are elevated, not one sacrificed. Even now, as you stand at the edge of the unknown, you may not see the path ahead, its contours hidden in the mist of tomorrow. But that does not mean it isn't forming beneath your feet, brick by invisible brick, guided by the universe's unseen hands. Trust in the process, for life is always conspiring in your favor, weaving opportunities from the threads of your intentions. Your courage, quiet, unassuming, steady, is already rebuilding the bridge between who you were and who you are becoming. Think of that former self, the one who armored up against the world, who hid vulnerabilities behind walls of achievement or avoidance. Now, with each small act of bravery, speaking your truth in a conversation, setting a boundary with kindness, choosing rest over busyness, you lay another plank on that bridge. It may creak under the weight of old habits, but it holds firm, growing stronger with every step. Each choice made in truth, no matter how modest, reinforces its structure, turning what was once a fragile crossing into a solid pathway. And I, your angel, walk beside you, not as an overseer perched high above, judging your every move, but as a companion, a fellow traveler on this earthly sojourn. My presence is subtle, like the warmth of sunlight filtering through clouds, always there even when unnoticed. When doubt whispers its insidious lies in the quiet hours of night, I remind you softly, you are safe. Safe in the knowledge that the universe cradles you, that no misstep is irreversible. Anything that agitates, that stirs constant doubt or turmoil, is not love but a distortion, a shadow play of unmet needs. It may demand your constant self-betrayal, asking you to twist yourself into shapes that no longer fit, to silence your inner voice for the sake of harmony. But remember, beloved, anything that requires you to forsake your essence is not divine. Divinity resides in alignment, in the sacred union of self and other where both are elevated, not one sacrificed. Even now, as you stand at the edge of the unknown, you may not see the path ahead, its contours hidden in the mist of tomorrow. But that does not mean it isn't forming beneath your feet, brick by invisible brick, guided by the universe's unseen hands. Trust in the process, for life is always conspiring in your favor, weaving opportunities from the threads of your intentions. Your courage, quiet, unassuming, steady, is already rebuilding the bridge between who you were and who you are becoming. Think of that former self, the one who armored up against the world, who hid vulnerabilities behind walls of achievement or avoidance. Now, with each small act of bravery, speaking your truth in a conversation, setting a boundary with kindness, choosing rest over busyness, you lay another plank on that bridge. It may creak under the weight of old habits, but it holds firm, growing stronger with every step. Each choice made in truth, no matter how modest, reinforces its structure, turning what was once a fragile crossing into a solid pathway. And I, your angel, walk beside you, Yuro, not as an overseer perched high above, judging your every move, but as a companion, a fellow traveler on this earthly sojourn. My presence is subtle, like the warmth of sunlight filtering through clouds, always there even when unnoticed. When doubt whispers its insidious lies in the quiet hours of night, I remind you softly, you are safe. Safe in the knowledge that the universe cradles you, that no misstep is irreversible. Irreversible. When fear rises like a storm, threatening to overwhelm, I wrap you in the calm frequency of remembrance. Recall the trials you have weathered before, Yuro, the heartbreaks that shattered you only to reveal your resilience, the failures that taught you wisdom, the dark nights of the soul that gave way to dawn. You have done hard things before, emerging not just intact but transformed, wiser and more compassionate. And you have always found your way back to the light, that inner glow that no shadow can extinguish. You will again, for the light is not something you chase, it is what you are. This journey is not about being fearless, as if fear were an enemy to be vanquished once and for all. Fear will visit, as it does all souls, a transient guest bearing messages if we listen. No, the true essence of the path is remembering that the love within you is greater than any fear that arrives at your door. That love is your core, an eternal flame fed by the divine spark that animates all creation. It outshines doubt, outlasts worry, and outgrows limitation. Nurture it through daily acts of kindness toward yourself, a warm cup of tea savored in silence, a walk in nature where the world mirrors your beauty back to you, a journal entry where you pour out your truths without judgment. In these moments, love expands, pushing fear to the periphery until it dissolves like mist in the morning sun. You have spent years proving your worth through endless striving, defending your place in the world with achievements stacked like trophies, explaining your every decision to appease the expectations of others. It was a necessary phase. Perhaps, a way to build confidence in a world that often demands proof of value. But now, beloved, you are invited into a simpler state, being. Just being here, in the fullness of the present moment, without the need to perform or justify. Being honest, allowing your words and actions to flow from a place of integrity rather than obligation. Being whole, embracing all parts of yourself, Yuro, the light and the shadow, the strength and the softness, Yuro, without fragmentation. This is the art of existence, stripped of artifice, where joy arises naturally from alignment. You do not need to earn rest, as if it were a reward doled out only after exhaustive labor. Rest is not a luxury for the accomplished, it is the natural state of a soul in harmony with itself. Imagine a river flowing effortlessly to the sea, not forcing its way but surrendering to gravity's gentle pull. In rest, you recharge, allowing creativity and insight to bubble up from the depths. And from rest, everything good begins again, Yuro, new ideas, renewed relationships, revitalized purpose. It is the fertile soil from which growth springs, the quiet pause that amplifies the music of life. So let this moment be your doorway, not to a grand transformation with fanfare and fireworks, nor to a perfect plan meticulously mapped out. Instead, embrace a small, sacred shift, as subtle as the first raindrop heralding a storm's end. Choose honesty over endurance, speaking your truth even when your voice trembles, rather than soldiering on in silent suffering. Choose peace over performance, letting go of the need to impress or achieve, and instead cultivating inner tranquility. Choose trust over fear, believing in the benevolence of the universe even when evidence seems scarce. These choices are not dramatic leaps but gentle pivots, realignments that accumulate into profound change. The universe does not need your exhaustion, it thrives on your presence, your awake and attuned being. When you show up fully, without the veil of fatigue, you contribute your unique vibration to the cosmic symphony. It needs your willingness to believe that life does not have to hurt to be meaningful. Pain may visit as a teacher, but it is not the curriculum itself. Meaning arises from connection, from love shared, from moments of awe and gratitude. Release the myth that suffering is noble, that struggle is the only path to depth. Instead, affirm that joy, ease, and fulfillment are your rightful inheritance. If you are still here, still reading these words that resonate like a familiar melody, it is because something inside you recognizes truth when it hears it. That inner spark, that deeper knowing, is not swayed by fleeting emotions or external noise. It is your compass, forged in the fires of your experiences, always pointing toward authenticity. Trust it more than timelines imposed by society, those arbitrary markers of success that measure progress in years rather than soul growth. Trust it more than expectations, whether your own internalized pressures or those projected by others. And trust it more than what others think you should do. The well-meaning advice that often stems from their own unfulfilled dreams. Your compass knows the way, even through uncharted territories, leading you not to a predetermined destination but to the ever-evolving home of your true self. As I shield you now in light, enveloping you in a protective aura that deflects negativity and amplifies positivity, I whisper what you have always needed to hear: you are not behind. The race you imagine is an illusion, there is no finish line, only the eternal now. You are not broken, for what appears as fractures are merely the spaces where light enters, illuminating your resilience. You are not too late, for every moment is ripe with potential, every breath a new beginning. You are unfolding exactly as you were meant to, in divine timing that transcends human calendars. The ache you feel the tender soreness in your heart is not a sign of failure but the sound of your old self making way for your real one. It is the creak of doors opening, the stretch of wings unfurling, the birth pangs of rebirth. Walk gently from this moment, beloved, with footsteps light and deliberate, carrying the wisdom you've gathered. You are free to begin again, not when everything is certain, with all variables controlled and outcomes guaranteed, but when you finally decide to honor your truth. That decision is the spark that ignites transformation, the quiet revolution that changes everything. And that truth need not be loud, proclaimed from rooftops or debated in forums. It can start as quietly as a breath, a subtle inhalation of self-acceptance, as humbly as saying, I deserve peace. Whisper it to yourself in the mirror, write it in the margins of your day, live it in the choices you make. And you do. You always have. Peace is not a distant prize but an inherent right, woven into the fabric of your being. As you embrace it, watch how the world shifts to meet you. Opportunities align, relationships deepen or dissolve as needed, and a profound sense of belonging settles in. This is the essence of your journey, returning to the peace that was always yours, layer by layer, breath by breath. To delve deeper into this invitation, consider the breath once more, that rhythmic dance of life that connects you to the cosmos. Each inhalation draws in the energy of the universe, infusing your cells with vitality, while each exhalation releases what no longer serves stale air, old grievances, lingering doubts. This cycle mirrors the larger patterns of existence, the ebb and flow of tides, the waxing and waning of the moon, the season's eternal wheel. By attuning to your breath, you align with these natural rhythms, finding stability amid change. Forgiveness, then, becomes not a one-time event but a continuous practice, woven into every breath. Forgive the moments of hesitation, the times you chose safety over adventure, the words left unsaid or spoken in haste. These are human experiences, not indictments. As you exhale the defenses of your outgrown life, visualize them dissolving into ether, leaving space for new possibilities to emerge. That old life, with its comforts and constraints, served its purpose. Now, like a snake shedding its skin, you leave it behind without regret. The freedom from explanation is liberating, isn't it? In a world that demands constant accountability through social media updates, performance reviews, casual inquiries you reclaim your sovereignty by simply being. Your evolution might manifest as new hobbies that ignite passion, boundaries that protect your energy, or a shift in perspective that colors everything anew. Others may puzzle over these changes, but their curiosity is theirs to manage. Your canvas awaits, vibrant and infinite. Dip your brush into colors of joy, curiosity, and self-expression. Perhaps you paint scenes of adventure, strokes of serenity, or abstract swirls of emotion. The act of creation heals, reminding you that life is art, not argument. Compassion for those who struggle with your growth is key, yet it must be balanced with self-preservation. Picture them as fellow travelers on parallel paths, each carrying their own burdens. Your light might illuminate their shadows, stirring discomfort, but that is not a reason to dim yourself. Instead, send silent blessings, knowing that everyone's timing is unique. Gentleness, your true north, calls you forward. It manifests in self-talk that is kind, in decisions that honor your body and spirit. Expansion through goodness feels like wings spreading, a heart opening wide. Contraction, on the other hand, signals misalignment. Perhaps a job that stifles creativity, a friendship that drains rather than replenishes. Heed these sensations, they are your body's wisdom speaking. Real love, O beloved, is a sanctuary. It doesn't riddle you with questions or demand proofs of devotion. It flows easily, like sunlight through open windows, warming without scorching. In its presence, your nervous system unwinds, muscles relax, breaths deepen. Agitation arises from attachments rooted in fear, fear of loss, of inadequacy, of abandonment. But divine connections foster growth, not betrayal of self. If a relationship requires you to contort your values, silence your dreams, or ignore your intuition, it is not heaven sent. Release it with grace, making room for what truly nourishes. The path ahead, though unseen, is trustworthy. Like a river carving through rock, it forms through persistence and flow. Your quiet courage, showing up authentically day after day, builds that bridge. Each truthful choice, from declining an invitation that doesn't align to voicing a long-held desire, adds strength. As your angelic companion, I witness your progress, offering gentle nudges. When doubt creeps in, remember, safety is your baseline, woven into the fabric of existence. Fear's storms pass, but your inner light endures. You've navigated challenges before, breakups that led to self-discovery, losses that birthed empathy, uncertainties that honed intuition. This time is no different, you'll emerge radiant.